Welcome gamers to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming, and on today's episode we're going to go over the highlights of some of the games that were shown during E3 2019. So all the way from EA's press conference to Nintendo's press conference and the good and the bad that fell in between. Also guys, we're going to announce a new game that we're going to be giving away in the new video game contest, so make sure you watch, figure out how you can enter and possibly win. But of course guys, there is all that and more, so if you want to hang out, grab yourself a beer and let's talk games. Welcome gamers to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We are on episode 11. My name is Craig Prowse, and joining me as always is Mandrew Montemay. Yowzers. So we are going to talk about E3, right? It just happened. But we're not going to break down every little thing that happened during that. Each of those shows, each of those press conferences were about an hour to 2 hours a piece.
At least a minimum, yeah.
Yeah, we'd be sitting here we had a hard enough time just writing notes to see what we were going to talk about. So, Andrew wanted to break it down into what we thought was the least compelling conference to the most. So,
yeah, so we're going to start with our least favorite and then kind of work our way up to what we thought was the best. And I mean, each conference had some highlights, but some were just like, Some of them were clearly better than others. So, let's get the show going, guys. And the first one was EA. EA launched, the new Star Wars game, and that's really its big selling point. Andrew, we saw the trailers. We know more about the storyline. What did you take away from this? I still think it looks kind of cool. I thought it looked kind of weird because they clearly had it on like an easy mode. I understand that you play on easy, but it almost looked like too easy because like you're fighting one stormtrooper and like two other ones are standing by just idly and maybe shooting every now and then. So that was kind of weird to where it didn't make the game look good. I'm not sold on the game, but I mean, I think it could be really cool. But then again, who knows how it's going to turn out?
I liked it a little more. I'm with you though. The game still needs some polishing. I noticed that when enemies were running, it just looked like they were just jogging at you. And I'm like, why are these guys? Where's the sprint? Like it looked like kind of just clanky.
It did look kind of jank. That, and I wonder where it takes place in the timeline too.
Yeah, that's the other big thing. They made it officially canon.
Yeah, so they brought in Saul Guerrero from
Forrest Whitaker's fucking hanging out.
Rogue One, and I thought he died. So unless he survived, I don't know. So I have no clue where this takes place at.
I like that you can also see Respawn's influence on the game, right? When you see him running on the walls and stuff, you're going, okay, cool.
That stuff was kind of cool.
So, the game overall, I think, looks promising. Andrew's still on the fence about it.
They're definitely going for that like buddy vibe, like they've been doing Star Wars, where you have your main person and then you have your little droid.
I think his name was BD1 or something like that. Body Droid 1 or something.
They're all about that ever since BB-8 took off too. Just like R2-D2, they're coming up with all these like little companions.
Yeah, he's got a cool design. He kind of has like that Ratchet and Clank kind of vibe to him. He's gonna take care of your electronics, get you into doors, bypass security, and then you've got your Force user. Which before we end this one is most Star Wars games, at least when you're playing some sort of Force user, you can usually go between a dark side or a light side. This is a purely light side Jedi
from
story.
What it looks like, yeah.
Well, no, the guy when Greg Miller was asking him, he was just like, "Are you going good or bad?" He's like, "No, it's officially."
Oh well, no, I mean we don't know the story. You could take a twist at the end.
I guess he might get some Sith eyes, but we'll see.
I mean, other than that, in the conference, I feel like all they showed was like a little bit of Battlefield, some new map, but I mean,
other than that, EA just kind of showed. The reason why it's the lowest on our list is mainly because it's just the other games aren't things we love. A lot of it was the sports games. They did some Apex stuff, guys. So if you do want to watch the full versions of any of these conferences, all of the links are going to be in the description, so you can click on that. You can check it out.
Right.
So moving along was the one I think was probably the one I was most curious about. So the next one in our ranking was Bethesda.
Yeah, that one was... It was something.
It was something, and because Bethesda has a lot to make up for, because they just had a huge smack in the mouth with how bad Fallout 76 was received, and so they get on stage and they talk about how Fallout 76 has a new updates and stuff. So all the game's essentially playable now, because when that game came out, it was broken.
Right, and I mean, it was kind of like a half-hearted apology, I felt like.
Yeah,
we're listening to the community, and we're making the changes you want to see. But, I mean, it's not hard when the changes are, hey, make a fucking game that works. Like,
yeah, essentially they were saying, oh, we got new storylines, we've got new characters. The big thing was the Battle Royale.
Yeah,
right?
That's their new big thing that they're doing, is they're riding that hype train, is a Battle Royale mode. And it's, I think... I'm not sure how many players. It's not 100 players. It would have been cooler if it was 76, but I know that that's not the number. But either way, I mean, it seemed like it might be interesting because that world's pretty. I enjoy Fallout personally. I just don't think 76 is great, and it wasn't for me. It's not a multiplayer game that I want to play, but I'd be at least willing to give it a go. So I think that's what makes it interesting, is I just don't know. I can't picture it working. I can't picture it being fun, that I would want to try it for myself.
And I think they were saying that there's some free play right now. If you were to, I think you can play 76 for free right now. Just, they're kind of getting you back in their good graces. But moving on from that, we had a game I know caught your eye, was Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah, they didn't really show any gameplay. Normally I hate when they just show kind of like a trailer with no gameplay or anything. Yeah, it's all cinematic, but I mean, the only reason I'm really hyped for it is because it's from Shinji Mikami, who did Resident Evil and, The Evil Within, and I love both those games and those franchises. I think they're amazing, and I love horror games personally, so this kind of seemed like a futuristic kind of noir-ish in a way.
Very shadowy, very kind of what's going on, very mystery based. I watched the trailer a few times just so to see if there's anything I missed on it.
And it's in Japan. It's a setting for it.
Which is really cool.
So I personally would be I'm all for it. That's a game that I'm hyped for based just off of who's making it because of his track record. So I feel he deserves a thumbs up for me for that.
Nice. Yeah, the game looks definitely good as far as what we've been able to see. I'm looking forward to that trailer too. We can see some gameplay and see what the actual mechanics of the game is. So also another thing that caught our eye was I believe it's pronounced Elsewhere. It's the new ESO expansion that's coming out. It's for any of you guys that play the MMO. My brother's really into it. It looks good. They're getting really more into the dragons. I know they have 2 episodes. If they're calling them episodes, that are coming out in August and November.
Dragons.
Yeah, it's Dragon Hold, I believe, and Scalebreaker. So if you're interested in that also was released. But the other one that I thought was kind of cool was Deathloop, right? It's the guys that one made was really cool. Dishonored, and it's I'm trying to wrap my head around what it is. It's like 2 assassins that are stuck in the same day.
This is another one that it's just gameplay, but I thought the premise was like pretty cool. That I'm willing to, not just be like, oh, that's stupid, only show whatever. They'll show that one when they're ready. You're 2 assassins, and they didn't really explain the story, but your story conflicts with each other, and so you're stuck eternally killing each other over and over. And they said there's all kinds of different ways that you can play, there's all kinds of different weapons you could use, and essentially they're just trying to kind of almost break this curse and get out of this loop of just constantly having to, fight each other.
And I like how, because they both narrate it, and one of them is at the point where the guy, he wants to break the cycle, and the other chick's trying to protect the cycle, and we keep killing each other, and then in one scene she's killing him a certain way, and then the next scene he learns from it and he kills her. So it's interesting. Again, it's all cinematic, so I want to see what actually.
I like the idea. I mean, the premise sounds kind of cool.
So the big thing that Bethesda did that got both of our attention, obviously, is Wolfenstein.
Yeah, the Wolfenstein New Order.
Yeah.
Or not New Order.
Youngblood.
Youngblood,
excuse me. Yeah, if any of you guys played the other ones, because I went back and played them all on the Xbox. They were
I loved them. Wolfenstein was
awesome,
absolutely
just
great.
campy kind of these first-person, just balls-to-the-wall shooters. So the new one is going to be you're playing his daughters. And
are they twins?
I think they're twins.
If not, they're slightly separate.
Yeah, I'm almost positive they are twins. But the concept of this game is it's going to be co-op. We watched the trailer 1 or 2 times. I'm not sure how that co-op works.
Yeah, I don't know if it's multiplayer or just couch co-op only or whatever. I mean, either way, it looked
badass.
Even just playing it by yourself. I mean, Wolfenstein was it's been badass ever since they refreshed the franchise with it. So I personally love it.
Yeah, all the gameplay looked awesome. It was just fast, just hyper in your face, and they're even the dialogue between the characters where they're joking around with each other. I'm like, this game is going to be perfect, and it's not even launching it for $60.
Yeah,
right?
No, this one it's launching for $30 because it's not. I'm sure. I think they said it's like a fairly good chunk of a game, but it's not like a full. But then again, you could really run through on the easiest difficulty. You could run through Wolfenstein in a handful of hours. So who's to say?
Yeah. I'm curious if it's kind of like Far Cry New Dawn. It's like a good because Far Cry New Dawn launched at $40 too, didn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
Because it was Far Cry 5, and then there was new.
Either way, it's a nice little add-on, just for a really cool universe. Definitely worth checking out for sure.
Yeah, and the game they kind of drove home was Doom Eternal, which is a game that I know a lot of people are waiting on. Everything about that game just looked fast. more gore. What did you take from it?
I mean, I thought it was really... I still haven't played the other one. It's on my list of games to play as soon as I'm done.
The next 4 games I want to get my hands on.
It's hard for me to get hyped for something that I want to beat the first one to it. But I'm also just like, I mean, Doom's never really been for me. But then again, maybe it will after I play it. Because I'll tell you right now, that soundtrack is fire.
Yeah, they got awesome music. So, that is pretty much what we took away from Bethesda, the highlights. Andrew,
it was just...
Was there anything that that turned you off about it?
All the blades, how long they took talking about blades, which is their like little stupid mobile game and making a big deal that it's coming to Switch. And
I did kind of like that when I saw it was on Switch. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll play it, but I don't give a shit about mobile games. And
I think that game looks like shit regardless. But I mean, it's easy for me to sit here and shit on a game for 5 seconds when someone took like 5 years to make it though. So I don't know if you're into that, more power to you. I just thought that they had like one of the weaker conferences. It was kind of just like a little dull up until you see like Wolfenstein and Doom. Other than that, it was just like I
was almost gonna say, like, do you think this redeemed Bethesda in any way? I mean, or was it just kind of like a slow step in the right direction?
Who knows? Honestly, I'm surprised they even showed Fallout 76 at E3. And if this,
encouraging people to go out and play it again. They're like, oh yeah, jump back in the saddle and
if this online fucking battle royale plays anything like the main game and runs like shit, then that's just another shit sandwich they're gonna have to eat. So
another shit sandwich.
Here's praying like hell that it works.
Right. So let's move into our third one, which is Ubisoft, and they did I think a pretty good job. And
I liked Ubisoft's. That was kind of where I felt like they stopped being and then it's good and then better.
And the game they kind of was their showcase was Watch Dogs Legion, right? They're not officially calling it number 3. It's Watch Dogs Legion. And if you've seen the trailer, you know what it's about. Essentially, the game 1 and 2 are about these hackers that are kind of in these open world type games, and the key concept of this is that you're going to be able to play every NPC. And when you first hear that, you're like, well, what does that mean? But you really get to play every NPC. And you watch the trailer, you see him play like the grandma, and you see one character die, and then it switches to the next girl.
Yeah, so if your character dies, one of your team dies, it's like permadeath.
Right, you can kind of build this squad that you can kind of cycle out. And I look at it as kind of like what Assassin's Creed did, right? They had a good game. Assassin's Creed is awesome. But they've turned into a new style of game where Watch Dogs on paper sounded good, wasn't well received. I mean, they literally threw a wrench in this, and they're changing the whole concept of what it is into this new style of game.
I'm definitely ready to jump back in because I played 1. And I was really hype on 1, but then after playing, I was like, this game's okay. It's a cool game, but I'm not like dying for it. I'm not going to stick around and play this multiplayer. Like, it's not that great. That I totally skipped 2 because 2 just didn't look interesting to me at all. That I'm a lot more excited for this game. Like, I think this game looks great, especially with its like weird, setting in London is where it takes place, and just like how there's so much like security and all that stuff. Like, it was really, really, really cool.
Yeah, this is an interesting concept that I'm curious if it does well, which I'm assuming it's going to. If any other game is going to kind of take from this and go, oh well, if you can pull any NPC in this game, like what other game could you, like if you make an Assassin's Creed where you can start picking anybody to be in your brotherhood and you can start switching out through them, it's an interesting concept. But let's move. And that game comes out March 6th. They gave a release date for it 2020.
Next year, yeah. So the first spoilers, 2020, the beginning of the year is packed.
2020 is going to be a handful of games. So knock as much as you can off your backlog now.
Yeah,
because it's going to just dogpile in the first quarter or 2 of 2020.
Yeah, the first quarter is
stacked up. Ghost Recon, Andrew, was next on our list for Ubisoft.
They showed some more Ghost Recon, but I mean, we covered that in another video. It's kind of a little bit more of the gameplay and some differences. So I mean, if you're dying to watch it, go ahead. We'll put a link down in the bottom. You can go ahead and check out the presser. We're not going to go too crazy.
Yeah, we talked about it, but it was there. They did a little more. Release date is October 4th. So if you guys want to check it out, go check out that video. John Bernthal and the dog. That was a good looking pup. He was just sitting there, just minding his own business.
Yeah, that might have been the highlight of the conference.
Yeah, it was the best thing they had. And the other thing that caught your eye, because I know you're looking for it, we're watching a video, was Rainbow Six Quarantine. It's a mode, correct?
Actually, I don't think I think they said it's like a game, but
Okay.
it's based on the Outbreak event that they had, where instead of it being PvP, you're PvE, and so essentially you're just trying to survive all these hordes of enemies and stuff like that coming in while you have your, your own special guys. So it's almost, and in a way, like Left 4 Dead, where you're trying to survive and you're working with your teammates, but you're in a static area, so you're trying to reinforce it with your special guys, putting up your special walls and everything like that. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing, because I love Rainbow Six Siege, and Siege is still going strong. That
it's surprising how much
I don't
Siege is
understand
still
what they would do is put out like a second Siege. You don't have to, because that game is still putting out numbers. That game is still amazingly great. So if it's a little add-on, I think that's pretty cool. If it's a standalone game, I'd have to see what kind of content is there for it to justify like a whole $60 purchase when it was based on a game mode from a previously existing game. But either way, it's outside the box. It's not your normal thing. So
I
it's
thought it
pretty
looked cool. I just ran through Rainbow Six Siege, just the tutorials, played a little bit online, but just watching that, knowing what the game offers, I thought it looked pretty cool. I know you're looking forward to it, but the thing that kind of raised the people's eyebrow was, so a while ago the Ubisoft streaming pass was leaked. I think on their UK site, and
everyone on their site is like a Ubisoft Premium,
right? And everyone's kind of asking this question. Okay, well, what's that going to be? Well, they announced it, and it's called the Uplay Plus streaming service for them.
Right.
And it's, unless I missed something, it's only as of now coming on the PC.
They said only for PC, and that's in September.
September, and the price point's gonna be $14.99 a month. Andrew, you hear a new streaming service coming out. Really, the only thing to compete with right now is EA and the Game Pass. Why would you start it on PC?
I mean, PC's got a big group, and maybe just trying to see how it works out. Plus, I mean, maybe it's a different price on PC, and maybe because you have EA Access, which is arguably the same thing, has been around a lot longer on Xbox, just came to PS4, and that's $5 a month versus $14.99 a month.
Yeah, 14. I just can't wrap my head around this.
It's completely different games, though. Like a lot of
just give me,
and then maybe that's what's weirder too. So
because like the pitch is 100+ games,
right? EA Access has a ton of games, but a lot of those games aren't just one definitive experience. It's not Assassin's Creed playing by yourself. These are online multiplayer games. It's hundreds, thousands of hours, a lot longer than any single player Ubisoft game besides Siege. Besides Assassin's Creed, whatever it could go. And that's like their big one. Maybe the other Ghost Recons.
I'm just curious why is this not on Xbox? Why is this not
I'm sure it will be.
I'm sure it will be, but unless there's something I missed in the past, why would it start on PC though? I mean, usually it's consoles, and then I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but I was looking forward to having a pass that could play all my Assassin's Creeds.
Maybe they're just trying to see how it's going to play out first.
And it's PC, and it's $14.99. To me, sounds a little high for
you get a lot of games, and if you're going to get newer games day and date, who's to know what's going to be on there? If I'll get the new Watch Dogs and Ghost Recon Breakpoint on there day and date, not 10 hours of like EA Access does. If I get the full game for $14.99, then I might do that, but.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And I'm assuming it'd be ludicrous. I think this wouldn't come to console. I'm just, I guess, curious of why it didn't start on console.
If anything, I mean, it's definitely consumer friendly. The idea of it, I don't know about the price point yet. The idea of it's consumer friendly because I use the EA Access all the time. I love EA Access. I can't see myself paying for this because I just get those games when they come out, and it's not like a full year thing for me for Ubisoft.
Yeah, and most of those games are games I've just already beaten. Like, I'm going to get the pass to go replay Assassin's Creed 1 and things like that.
Right. I
mean, Game Pass and stuff like that is coming out with new content every month.
For anyone who hasn't done it, that's a shit ton of games.
Again, you just bought yourself a 100+ game backlog.
Yeah.
So, anyway, one last thing before this one is done is Gods and Monsters was the game that kind of caught your eye. Again, no gameplay for the game.
It kind of showed almost what looked a little bit like it.
It looks appealing.
Aesthetically, yeah. So if anything, I kind of like it because it's almost like AC Odyssey-ish in a way where like you're this person taking on these like, you know, mythical monsters and that sort of thing. But I like the fact that it unless it's a big game, it seemed like it was a little bit smaller, that maybe it's akin to more like Child of Light, like a smaller release that doesn't have to be this big crazy AAA thing. Because I personally love Child of Light. I thought that game was absolutely amazing. Awesome. So to see another small game that's got a really cool design, a really cool aesthetic and stuff like that, you know, I would be all for that. So
we're wrapping up Ubisoft.
I give him a thumbs up on that.
Thumbs up, yeah. I think all around it was a pretty solid one. I mean, because when you got a title like Legion, that what everyone's buzzing about,
that's what they spend most of their time talking about.
And all they were just recapping on other games that we already know are going to be good. Ghost Recon, you know, from the track record is going to be good. Rainbow Six, Out of Quarantine is going to be good. So overall, hopefully, good. Yeah. Moving into Microsoft. Microsoft is the one that was kind of everyone had their eye on because Phil Spencer kept saying this was going to be the best E3 they've ever had. Sony's absent from this. This was kind of their time to steal the show. The question is, Andrew, we watched it. Before we jump into what they offered, was it a good show? Do you think they lived up to the hype?
I think it was a good showing. And I don't think they could have lived up to the hype, one, because it would have been hard to live up to the hype. I guess they could have. I just didn't see them doing it. Especially since Sony's not there. This could have been the year for them to really put out something to where it's like, oh shit, you know, Sony could have been like, fuck, you know, why weren't we there? Because now they just dropped this bombshell. There wasn't any sort of bombshell. It was a good conference, but that's it. It was a good conference, especially when Sony wasn't there. I felt that this was the year that if you were going to bring your big guns, that this is when you should have shown it. This is when it should have been there. But instead, they're saying, hey, all that stuff's going to be there next year.
Yeah, I'm with you on that point.
I thought that's what a majority of this conference was a setup for next year.
Well, I mean, the other thing is, though, they had a lot of games they were announcing were coming on the Game Pass, like, within that month. So
yeah, no, there's it.
I thought Xbox had a pretty solid reveal. I mean, expectations in realistic settings, like, what could they have done to hit this A-bomb? You know what I mean? They're like, oh, we got to make sure that it's
I don't know what they could have done, but they could have.
They could have done more.
That's for that's not for me to decide. Yeah. You know, they have a whole fucking department full of people that they pay to make a presser. Like, all right, Sony's not going to be here. This is our time to really get that fucking mind share going. This is our time to bring anybody back. Like, I felt like a lot of the stuff, like, we'll start with this. Yeah, we'll start with the Project X Cloud, which is supposed to be their kind of answer to Stadia, which is where you can, your Xbox, they said, acts as a server, and then you could turn on your phone and plug the controller into it, sync your controller to it, whatever, and be able to play a full-blown game on your phone, on the go, or other devices like they're saying. I felt like they really glossed over that.
Yeah, I feel like that should have been something that they should have drove home, especially because they're getting the jump on Stadia Stadia launches in November, and they're coming out in October. Right. So they got the month jump on them, and it was kind of a little like a side note of what they're doing. Yeah. But every time we've watched the reviews on people that are actually playing on the floor, they're saying it's great. So it's like, why did you skimp on this great thing that could have stolen the show, essentially?
Right. Well, yeah, no, I would definitely be excited for it. I mean, I have my own little dedicated area to game, but there's times where I'm like, okay, you know, would I rather be on the couch or whatever and just, you know, sitting there with a little phone screen and I just put on whatever in the background? Like, yeah, I mean, it'd be cool. Or times where I come over here while we're prepping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have the Xbox, I could play right there, but if I don't want to, so I feel like I'm more engaged, not just staring at this big screen, I could be like right here looking over his shoulder with.
Yeah, I think the xCloud could have been their secret weapon that they kind of just let slip through the net, and
they just glossed over it.
Yeah, so kind of like we're gonna gloss over the rest of this. So the big game that they launched, which we've been talking about for how long now, is Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, that was a big part of their showing, and based on that, though, I went and pre-ordered it because I wasn't really sure before. Yeah, I already paid it off and everything.
Nice.
Like, I thought that game looked amazing.
Just standard edition, or was there any kind of special edition that you could have gotten? Or
I think they might have a special edition. I don't know. I just ordered the standard to start with. But I mean, either way, that game's not out till next year, anyways.
Again, maybe that could have been another thing if this game would have launched in December, because it's like now it comes out.
It's another Q1 game, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I don't even think I have the date for it. But, yeah, it's next year. And, you know, these things, these E3, you know, events have to know is that people are, I don't want to say slowly losing interest in things like this, but, like, when you start seeing the writing on the wall where, like, Sony's not doing it, or they just, you know, they're opening up to the public now just so they can fill seats.
April 16th.
So, you know, a game that everyone's kind of looking forward to, but we've been talking about it for a long time now, and now it's still another, 9 months away?
Yeah, I mean, it's... either way, though, I think it looks amazing.
It looks awesome, though, but that's the other thing. The game looks fucking
and that
sick.
Keanu Reeves moment with the fan and everybody like that, he stole the show.
Yeah,
I feel like
Reeves
he stole all
comes
the
out,
pressers.
John Wick looking, because I just rewatched 1 and 2, about to go watch 3 on Sunday. You've seen 3.
Yeah.
But he comes out, and he has fun with the crowd, and it's one of those things where you're like, oh, it comes out next year, but hey, Keanu's there, so it's making everything all right. Outer Worlds, that was the game that I think they started the Microsoft press conference with.
Yeah, I think they started showing. I don't know if it was the full thing, but either way, I think that game looks great because
it looks cool.
I personally liked Obsidian, like the Fallout New Vegas, and I'm pretty sure they did Oblivion, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds right, yeah.
But either way, I personally like what they're doing, and it seems like with this game, because I didn't really care for Fallout 4, that this seems like more what I wish I would have gotten from Fallout 4.
Interesting.
It's, like a futuristic Fallout. It still has kind of some of a similar vibe, but I don't think there's anything else out there to where it's a problem, to where now it's, saturating that, that sort of game.
It did look a little faster too, right? I thought some of the gameplay looked a little more quicker, because I was kind of looking at it like, it looks like Fallout mixed with like Borderlands in the sense.
Yeah,
because Borderlands is kind of that faster shooty, but Fallout kind of sets the tone of where we're at. So the game looked pretty cool. Looking forward to that.
Yeah,
right?
no, I thought that game looked great.
The next one, because we're both big Dragon Ball Z fans, and I didn't even see this game coming, because
that was
Dragon Ball
great.
Z Kakarot dropped, and I feel like there's been Dragon Ball Z games coming out every year to 2 years, and I feel like we just get Z Fighter or Fighter Z?
Fighters. Yeah, like not last year, the year before that.
Yeah,
maybe.
So this game comes out, and it breaks the mold, because normally Dragon Ball Z's are fighting games with a story element. This looks like a story-based game with a fighting element.
Yeah, it's like, that's what they describe as like a fighting RPG. You're seeing, as they're hitting someone, you're seeing the numbers pop up like classic RPG style. You have your leveling you're supposed to watch and stuff. I've seen some other gameplay of it, and I think it looks amazing. I choose the English VA always. I personally can't stand the Japanese one, but they even have like
he's a hater.
It's open world. There's all kinds of stuff you could do. You're watching like Goku like fish with his tail, or they even have older characters from throwbacks to Dragon Ball, like Android 8, Ader, and you're fighting some of the other androids, and then it progresses like an episode would. And like they said, they're trying to stay really faithful to the anime.
That was
they even have the narrator come out, and it's like Raditz-san, whatever, however he'll announce it, and they have the like little cut cue card, and then it goes to whatever.
That was cool. They were kind of saying that they want to stick to as close as a manga-esque telling as they could.
In the anime, yeah. So I thought it looked great. I'm actually really excited for that one.
That looks badass. And but the side note is called Kakarot, so the story's gonna be all Goku. One of the questions that I liked was asked was, well, in this story, when Goku has a heart attack and he's sidelined, what are you doing? I kind of liked it. He goes, you know what, we can't reveal that yet. So they have an answer to that question.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll play as other people. I don't think it'll all be Goku. But
another one I would just want to gloss over, I guess, real quick was Battletoads. Battletoads was shown. Battletoads is hit or miss for most people. You either liked the game or you didn't. I'm curious if this was the best way to reintroduce these toads.
Yeah, why not? I mean, put them out there, put them on. I mean, what do they got to lose? Again, like, it's a franchise that's hit or miss. You make the game, you put it out, and it'll sell or it won't. Lots of people are crazy for it, but I don't know if that's a nostalgic point of view, or
it has to be.
If
I go back and replay it, and it's a pain in the ass.
I'm not crazy for like Battletoads. I remember it being cool as a kid, but like, have I been hankering for another one ever since? No.
I've been hankering for some zits and was it Zits, Pimple, and Rash? I just thought it looked kind of what was that? What was the one with Scott Pilgrim versus the World? It kind of looked
that art style.
Yeah, it looked like that, only a little more kind of carnival-y. Like
I thought it looked good. I mean, if it comes to the Game Pass,
it is coming to the Game Pass.
Majority of these games are coming to Game Pass day one, and if I don't have to put any money into it, I'm definitely gonna try it out.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. So I wanted to hit on that. The other one that I know you wanted to talk on was Elden Ring. This is the George R.R. Martin game.
George R.R. Martin, Hidetaka Miyazaki, From Software, Dark Souls, they've kind of mixed together, and they're making what maybe seems, so what people describe as like a Dark Souls, Game of Thrones sort of game.
And what's not to love about that?
And I mean, Dark Souls has always had like a deep, if you're into it, it's got the lore. The lore is there. I absolutely love Dark Souls. Christina, my girlfriend, who she doesn't play the games, she likes watching the lore videos. She knows about the game, she knows some of the lore, she knows what's happening, and she tries to get deep in the lore, and she absolutely loves it, and that's just how good it is from an outside perspective as someone who doesn't even play that game.
Yeah, Andrew, I was originally not a huge fan of Dark Souls. Andrew got me to play it. I love it.
So I think it looks pretty cool. It looks like a Western Dark Souls, and I'd be all for it.
They didn't show any gameplay though, right? It was just kind of more of a trailer of what's to come.
Right. I'm sure they'll show something soon, but
so that's coming. Let's move on a little.
I'm hyped.
Yeah, he's hyped up. A game that I was looking forward to was Ori. Pretty much Ori 2. It's Ori Will of the Wisp.
I'll pass. I didn't care for the first.
See, I thought he was the one that got me into it, but I think Cece was actually the one that got me into it.
Give her that shout out.
CC, shout out! It's a great game. They just did the I want to call it the definitive edition. I think on Game Pass. My brother just went back and replayed it. The game's awesome. It's, I don't know. You're moving around through like this forest. You kind of deal with the woods and all this stuff. I won't give too much away. I'm sure the trailer will be playing right now while we're talking. So the game looks awesome. That's coming out. That comes out actually February 11th. Again, another first quarter good grab. Dying Light 2, though, is a game that's also coming out. And
yeah, that's all you.
That, if anybody likes zombie, I'm surprised how you don't like this game. Because
I think
it's a fast-paced zombie game. Yeah, zombie-esque game.
I think they just said Dying Light's coming to the Game Pass, and I was reading that earlier. So I'm like, okay, you know...
Nice.
Well, no, not Dying Light 2. Dying Light 1 is coming.
Now you gotta play it.
So I was like, all right, you know what, for Craig's, I think I'm gonna come over here.
Oh man,
and I'll let you coach me.
I got a couple spots where I can
maybe that's why I felt like I didn't like it. Is maybe I just didn't kind of grasp some of the concepts to where sometimes when there's a game, which again I don't know how the hell I got into Dark Souls then, but if some of those games just throw so much at you right off the bat, I'm like, I don't care because I don't want to play this now. It's too much.
It was a game that sat on my shelf here for a minute, and when I finally started playing it,
couldn't stop raving about it.
I was addicted to it. It does the day and night cycle so great that I don't know how other games fail because this game does it so good. It's fast. There's the human element. There's the infected element. So number 2 is coming out, and if it's anything like number 1, in my mind, it's already going to be a hit. And the character that you're playing, I forget his name, but he's supposed to be infected.
I think it's an Aiden 2.
Something like that.
Because I remember thinking about it because I was like, oh, man. At first, well, I wasn't kind of paying attention, but Aiden made me think of Watch Dogs.
Oh, there you go. Nice. And he's got like this bracelet that kind of shows him that maybe it's injecting him with serum at a certain point. I don't know. That game looks amazing, though. So let's move on, though, to another game that I think we both agreed looked kind of cool, even though I'm not a fan of the original, was Minecraft Dungeons.
Oh, yeah. I'm not a Minecraft player at all. But it looks like a cool game. I mean, if I don't have to build anything, I wouldn't mind running through it with somebody, or even so, I'm glad they're just making content out there that's for everybody, you know, not just for my taste, for your taste. And the thing is, too, that even though Microsoft owns Mojang, however they want to, I'm pretty sure it's Mojang. Since they own it, that this is still a cross-platform announcement. So personally, if I was them, I probably would have just pulled it off because that game prints money, so you know I'm sure there's tons of people who would buy a console. If I'm not mistaken,
it's like still the number 1 selling game. I think it passed like Tetris as the number 1 selling game of all time.
People were in love with that game. I personally don't get it. I don't like it. I'm not into it. But I mean, it's there. It's got the audience. So I mean, it's cool, and it's cool that they kept it cross-platform for everybody to play.
Yeah, and I thought, I mean, this looks like the version of Minecraft I want to play. It's a dungeon crawler, clearly, and it kind of has like a Diablo-esque vibe to it, right?
If I don't have to build anything, then I would definitely run into it.
Yeah, game looked good. And that comes out, though, 2020. Now, the game that kind of I thought was a huge curveball, because the last time you even heard about the movie was probably a decade ago, was they did the Blair Witch game.
Oh, yeah, that was that. At first, I thought it was another... go ahead. I'll come back to it. Come back to me.
So
Outlast.
Okay. There you go.
Outlast, because the person's moving around with the camera and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's Outlast 3. There's tons of people who love Outlast. That game got got kind of big for a while.
That game, that whole premise of the game is you're on camera, right?
Yeah, you're on the camera, and that's what a lot of that was. So I was like, okay, maybe it's another Outlast. This one actually looks kind of different than the other ones. I felt like the vibe was different, but I was like, okay, this looks cool. And then as soon as we seen the dude standing in the corner, I was like, is that like Blair Witch?
Yeah, I was just looking at like, why does this feel like Blair Witch? And then it was Blair Witch. And I was just like, oh, geez Louise. But it looks interesting. I mean, if you're into that kind of, if you're into horror games, here's another one.
I would definitely give it a go. I mean, either way, just a completely like random name to pull from because they haven't done anything Blair Witch in forever.
Nice. And so I would say that game looks interesting. I'm curious once we get to see more. Andrew, another game that I know caught your eye was Tales of Arise.
Oh, yeah. And so that's another in the history of the Tales games. I think earlier, it was either this year or last year, we just got the Tales of Vesperia remastered. And I personally haven't gotten it yet, but I think it looks great. And it's on my list of games to get. I've just got so many others. And this thing looks just right up my alley, like another JRPG. I'm excited for it. Yeah, I think it looks really, really good. And hopefully I beat everything else before it comes out.
I kind of missed this one when we were watching it. So when we were doing show notes, he was saying that game, and I'm like, oh, I gotta fucking watch this again. So I went back and watched it, and yeah, game looks right up my alley. Looks like a game that I'm interested in. So
you should check out the other ones, like I said, that Tales of Vesperia.
Well, yeah, dude, there's so many just good Tales games that I'm behind on. So, oh God, but the infamous backlog grows more and more every day. It's like quicksand, baby. You just sink. Also, another big one that everyone was looking forward to is Gears 5. You know, they put a little more on the map for it. It showed it was a mode, right? It was escape
mode. Yeah, is what they kind of focused on this one. So I think they showed gameplay last time of Gears 5. So this one they kind of focused a lot on the escape mode, which is almost like that Rainbow Six Quarantine. Like
it's a zombie-esque.
You're just trying. It's before they had like a horde mode where you're just surviving until you die. But now there's actually an objective. There's a way to get out, and so that's what you're trying to do.
So it's wave-based, but with an objective that you can.
I don't know if it's wave-based. They kind of didn't explain some of that. They just showed that you're trying to get out.
Yeah, because that was my thing. I was a bit confused, but it's cool that they're showing more than just the campaign for it.
Yeah, no. So I mean, I'm not a Gears person. I mean, if they came out with a better name, like Gears of 4, then
He's all about these 4s.
I'm still salty about that. That could have been the best name, but they blew it, so.
The other thing they did, they kind of attached it on the end, there's, because they're really pumping this Terminator, there's like a Terminator mode you can do, and I don't know if that's just...
Or there's like I don't know if he's like someone you're trying to survive against or whatever. I know, they got a kind of lot of crazy licensed DLC out there these days.
Yeah, so that was that, but if you're not a Gears fan, then you're probably a Halo fan.
Which is what they ended on.
So they came out with the light trailer for Halo 5 Infinite, and it didn't show any gameplay, so it's hard to say if it looks good or not, but it kind of puts you in this thing where Halo's fucked, you know, Master Chief's back, he's on. It was a 5-minute trailer that I thought was maybe 3 minutes too long.
I don't even think it was a trailer. It's gameplay, but it's like a story narrative gameplay where you can't move. Yeah, so it might have even been how the game starts, where you're push up to look up and so on and so on. I felt that was the biggest missed opportunity. Yeah, is you could have showed me a minute of gameplay.
Definitely was.
Show me that running on Scarlet. Show me something. Show me him shooting, running, jumping, even navigating your way through a level, like actual gameplay, not just him walking, following someone else, because it's not a cutscene, but you're on rails.
Yeah, you know? It was definitely a missed opportunity, but Andrew was right in one of the E3 predictions that he did.
That it would not
this
launch
game is launching with Scarlet.
And it's going to launch with Scarlet.
And they talked a little bit about Scarlet.
They said 8K, 120 FPS. I'm sure not for every game. They went into the specs, but I mean, we're not going to... You guys can read
if you want to check all the specs on Scarlet, check that out. But Scarlet was talked about. It's still it's still codenamed, right? Scarlet's not the actual title for it yet.
Maybe that is. I don't know. Holiday 2020 release.
Holiday 2020, though, they gave it a loose date. And it is fully backwards compatible.
Yeah, fully backwards compatible.
Which is cool.
Yeah,
so that's what we want from our game consoles. So I'm glad that Xbox actually picked up the slack. So overall, Microsoft, did it deliver?
I wouldn't say... I'll give them a thumbs up, and I'll say it was a good conference, but it also could have been a conference that if they weren't there and they just put out a bunch of teaser trailers and whatever, like... I'll say it was a missed opportunity, so a big missed opportunity. So the other I don't know what they could have done different, but
right, they did have a bunch of other games. Again, guys, we're talking about the highlights of what caught our eye the most. So there is a bunch of other stuff, other things that were releasing on Game Pass. So again, though, watch the conference of Xbox's.
I would say I wasn't blown away when I could have been.
Yeah, well, exactly, right? Everyone thought this was the year Xbox was going to explode. They just acquired, 14 studios. I thought we were going to see nonstop, just great, top choice games. We didn't really see it, but I'm not disappointed at what I saw.
Yeah, well, even interjection, they announced in the show that Double Fine, the people who make Psychonauts, is going to be they just got bought out by Microsoft.
Oh yeah.
That wasn't.
I missed that. They had the Lego Star Wars game coming out. So if you're a Lego fan, it's got all the Lego games tied into they're calling it the Skywalker Saga. Psychonauts 2 was coming out. There was a flight simulator, which surprisingly is well received by gamers.
I'm not that kind of person. But...
And Age of Empire, that was another one I would give a shout out to. PC game, finally on the Xbox. If you're into real time strategy games, that's for you. But moving into the second to last is the one that we've had our eye on for a minute because we've had at least an episode or two about it. Is the Square Enix conference, and let's start with the Final Fantasy and then we'll move in. They showed Final Fantasy VII.
Which is arguably the biggest reason anyone was watching.
And the biggest thing we've kept saying is, like, how many times are you going to keep showing me the same...
Oh, I was pissed. I was pissed the whole way through because I'm like, okay, you're showing more fight with the Scorpion, but it's still the Scorpion. Like, show me beyond. Show me something else. And then finally they did at the end of it. I was like, thank you. Here we go. Like, that's what I wanted to see. Like, I just want to see more.
Yeah, we finally got to look at Tifa Lockhart, and... she looks good, a little more polishing. I think we were griping on like her hair looked plastic.
She needs a little polish, but I mean that.
But it's
another Q1 March 2020 game.
Yeah, but we got to see some gameplay with it. They showed her fighting, and then the big thing is they finally revealed Sephiroth. You finally got to see him in a cutscene.
He was badass.
He got to talk to Cloud, and you're just like, God damn, this game.
Either way, I really love the direction that this game's going. I think it looks absolutely amazing. Yeah. And I personally love I like the new battle system that they have going with it too. It's still got like an ATB, but it's also actiony.
It looks like a nice hybrid between the two. You know, you're running around still fighting your guy, but you still got your tactical RPG strategy that you need to do. It looks good.
Yeah,
all
it doesn't look
around.
like you can't just sit there and button mash or whatever like that. I mean, they went in depth in the combat. I personally love the combat. I think it looks great. And I like all the little attention to detail that they're adding to this game. It really looks like they're adding, just to the minusculest detail that you're noticing from when Barrett's fighting somebody, his gun's heating up, to the kind of material someone's using lodged in their weapon.
Yeah, awesome. Good stuff. And again, though, we'll see. A lot of people are saying this game isn't actually going to ever be fully out. You know, we'll get a couple of the episodic.
They put that release date out, and that's very soon. That's
because what was it? It was March 3rd or March 30th?
2020, something like that. Either way, March 2020, less than a year away, so
it's coming. So I kind of jumped forward, but I think they started Square Enix press conference with.
No, that's what they started with
the Avengers.
No, they started with they ended with Avengers. Yeah,
they started with then I have my notes mixed up. So let's go down to Final Fantasy then, and we'll end it with Avengers. So the next one, and when the music hit.
I already knew what it was. That I looked over to his brother Gino to see his reaction because I know it's his favorite, and I'm glad that if anyone out of all these three's got their stand up like holy shit, this is finally happening for me moment, was his brother.
Yeah,
was they announced the Final Fantasy VIII
remastered. Yeah, we didn't think it was coming. Me and Andrew had a conversation a while back, and it was from a story that was a few years old, but they were saying that they lost code or something.
Yeah, they lost like all the original
and that's why they haven't been able to do a remastered on it.
Yeah, it's been the one game that's been missing for like they ported like everything else besides that game.
Yeah, and so this game's coming. It looks awesome. I'm hyped about it because on the list of games I have to beat, Final Fantasy VIII is one of them. I was kind of dreading playing it on my PS2 because I have, I think you can, the game's over there. I have the game on PlayStation 1, have an active PS2. I really didn't want to play it on that, so when I saw it on E3, I was like, thank God.
I'm excited to play it.
I was like, I just didn't want to play it on the I'm like, I want to play it with boosters. I want to play it on Xbox.
Even playing it on Xbox, like Final Fantasy IX without the boosters, some of the times it's rough. I'm like, oh my God, I got to turn this on. Like, can we get it going right now?
And the cool thing was this game is coming out 2019, right? It's one of the few games that are coming out 2019. So look forward
I hope it comes out December 31st, 2019 out of spite.
Yeah, fuck you, Craig. So the other Final Fantasy game, guys, that they dropped was Crystal Chronicles. If anyone remembers Crystal Chronicles.
It was on GameCube?
Yeah, it was a GameCube game. It was a GameCube exclusive, right?
I think so.
And so that is now coming out to the rest of the platforms.
Except for Xbox, as always.
Oh, God. Xbox got shafted on that one?
Yeah.
So yeah, Crystal Chronicles coming out. A shout out to Romancing Saga. That was the game that they showed.
I think that one looks pretty good.
Last Remnant, they were showing that it's finally coming to the Switch, and there was a game called Outriders. So if you guys want to see more on that, check out the link. Check that out. But they ended it with Avengers. So you saw it. Thoughts?
I thought it looked rough.
Very rough.
And I think the people look ugly.
Very ugly.
and
that's not what you want from a game.
And that's not comparing them to like how I think Tony Stark or anyone should look, but I just thought it was kind of an ugly game, especially when I watched all these, even some of the other like the JRPGs, like Romance and Saga. It's a lot more cartoony and more like a different, like not cel shaded, but almost like that in a way. You know, those graphics look way better than this. Even going from watching beautiful Final Fantasy VII to this ugly ass game. Like, the story looks cool, and I like the idea of being able to switch between people. I think it looks pretty badass, and I like that it's story driven and it's not just some. Here's a game, it's a beat 'em up brawler or whatever. Like, it looks like it's very story driven. So I think it looks really cool. I personally love the Avengers. I love all that hero shit. So I'm down for it. It's an ugly game, I guess, and an ugly game's an ugly game, you know.
And an ugly game with surprisingly great voice talent, like Troy Baker's on it, Nolan North's on it.
Yeah, they got a lot of good people on there, but it's all up to taste. I personally think Gears of War is an ugly game. Like, I think the character design's ugly. You have these big fucking beefy ass people that are like,
oh, dude, that's fucking prime broken.
But I mean, from what some of the people were saying behind the scenes, though, is this game was not running well, which is I'm sure why
something you don't want to hear.
Which I mean, they've got time before it comes out, but I'm sure that's why they didn't really show like extensive gameplay. It was mostly just
clips,
cutscenes.
Yeah, 2 seconds of them maybe running on the bridge, and you're like, okay, well, Hulk's about to do something. Skip, let's go back. I thought surprisingly, Bruce Banner probably looked the best out of all the character designs.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are talking shit on how Tony looks, and they're talking shit on. I didn't think Captain America looked bad. They're giving him shit for like his riot outfit, but I'm like. What's realistically in our world? What's a guy gonna wear in terms of?
I think Black Widow looks the worst.
She looks like she's 40 years old, on the wrong side of 50, and
on the wrong side of a bottle of gin.
Dude, and looks like she just got beat up before she made that scene.
Like, I see 5 of her when I go to the gas station, and it's past like 8 o'clock.
We want the game to be good. Obviously, I want to play any superhero game, and I want it to be good. But this,
I don't think Thor looks bad. Surprisingly, he just looks weird.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe it's just because so many people have the movies in their mind of what they think the Avengers should look like, especially when you're pulling. Because what was the comment they made?
Oh yeah,
that's the
most
exact
bullshit
same
line.
Cast from the game to the movie, and they tried saying, "Oh well, we didn't plan for that to happen."
It's like, coincidence. It's a coincidence. You watched all the movies and they made a game.
Yeah, there's no coincidence like that. And so anyway, guys, Avengers was out. It's a fairly decent long trailer, so if you want to watch it, go check that out. So overall. Andrew, we ranked Square Enix higher than Microsoft. Is that because we're biased and we like Final Fantasy?
Well, I felt like if we were going to drop the Final Fantasy VII is a bomb drop, and that's what they started with, and they showed me everything I wanted to see.
That's how you blow up Mako reactors.
Yeah, now I don't really want to see any more of the game. I just want it to come out, and then I can judge from there on whether or not it's long enough. With all the episodic, whatever it is they're talking about, that's later problems.
Yeah, 7 it did it for me. 8 did it for me. Avengers, I have hopes for, but
7 for me, I like that game is something I don't want to see any more of now. Like I saw,
that was enough.
I feel that I finally am fulfilled with everything I wanted to know with how they're going to move on going forward with this game. And you'll catch my pre-order if it's on Xbox.
The other thing was, it only shows that you can pre-order on Sony.
But it doesn't say exclusive.
No exclusive. So I'm just curious when the window for Xbox is going to be.
Maybe they have a marketing deal and they'll wait till the day before. Like, oh, by the way, it's on Xbox.
Yeah, we'll probably get it closer. I would say to
it's
fall.
It's been up
for
pre-order on Xbox by accident on 100 different sites to where there's no way unless there's some crazy last minute deal, there's no way I could not see it coming to Xbox. So
yeah, it better, and I hope it does. But the last one, guys, is I think
some people everyone's hands down the best.
It was the show stealer, if there's such thing as show stealers in a 3-day window. Was Nintendo's. Nintendo's was
Nancy killed it.
Was arguably just it delivered on all fronts, and it was just game after game after game after game. So
theirs was a lot of fun to watch.
It was, and we love the way Nintendo games look. So we're going to start with this. So one of the things that aren't so much a game they released was they announced some new characters for the new Smash. And one set of them is from the Dragon Quest series, right? It's about 4 of those knight kind of guys.
I don't know if it was 4 or because it showed so many that maybe it's like an alternate skin, or like how Pokemon, you're the trainer and you use different people. Maybe you pull out and bring in another knight like Zelda and Sheik.
I thought I saw 4 guys drop, but again, I've only seen it one time. But that is coming. But the good one that's coming that kind of...
the one I felt really belonged there, was Banjo and Kazooie. Of course, they're Rareware games, just like Donkey Kong and everything else, but they are owned by Microsoft. So Microsoft had to officially give them permission to use them, which I'm sure they were more than happy to do, especially since it seems like they got a good partnership going on. So who knows what that could mean as far as like anything else. But as far I hate when people are like, oh, well, put Master Chief in there. He doesn't belong in Super Smash.
Hearing that.
I felt like Snake was the most out of place person in there.
He doesn't even look good against
compared to everyone else. But I Banjo and Kazooie were badass. The gameplay for them looks badass. The way that they play looks great. I thought that they are right at home, and the way they did it with that like little short
with the dog and duck.
Yeah, and like K. Rool and everybody. Like I thought that was really cool, and that's what was the best part. Is they had like Donkey Kong cheering them on, and so it just shows back to like that like Rare when they used to be at their peak.
Yeah, and it's just cool that it just shows that Microsoft at this point is still just a team player. They're letting Sony have play Minecraft Dungeons. They're letting Nintendo get Banjo and Kazooie, 2 things that they own that they're letting.
And if anything, that's free marketing for them, and they could gauge interest. Like, okay, people are crazy about this, even though they should know people would get. Well, then again, who knows if people just get it because people didn't get Yooka-Laylee, which was supposed to be, but that game had other problems. So who knows?
That game had other problems, but. So Nintendo, the other, they're kind of, I don't want to call it a bomb, but a good game that a lot of people were hyped up for is Luigi's Mansion 3, which is coming out 2019. So
yeah,
it looked good. Andrew, you've played a couple?
Yeah. I played both of them. I didn't beat the second one, but I smashed the first one. That's arguably one of my favorite games. It's definitely a GameCube highlight. Is Luigi's Mansion. That game was absolutely amazing. As a matter of fact, I think they just remastered it. I don't know if it's for the Switch or for the 3DS, but they just put it back out, and that was something that if you have not played it,
I haven't.
I didn't think 2 was as good, but I personally loved 1, and I will stand by 1.
The only thing of Luigi's Mansion, I might still have a clip in my phone, maybe I'll post it. The only thing I've ever done with Luigi's Mansion is I went to an arcade in Phoenix, and they have the weird Luigi Mansion one. And I was like, that was badass. But just as a fan, I can watch a trailer and go, man, that looks badass. And what was the Gooigi?
Yeah. So that's one of the new gameplay mechanics is you can create like a clone of yourself called Gooigi, and it's like just Luigi and a big goo version of him, and you're able to you're able to like squeeze through like bars and stuff like that to do certain things. Either way, it looks like it's maybe kind of a return to what number 1 was. And so I'm hyped for it. That's a game that I'm hyped for. I love Luigi's Mansion, and I like seeing Luigi forefront and center, getting the recognition that he deserves.
Yeah, I want them to stop making him such a pussy.
Oh no, I love that he is.
Do you? I just want him to have a little more nerve.
I think it's great that he's a coward, but he's willing to move past it anyways. That's always a standout trait for me.
We call those stepping stones in the character building. And the next game, one that I really like, is Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. So obviously based on the 1980 something movie. The Netflix is now making a new show on it.
They're riding that train.
Yeah, the game is like a tactical kind of based RPG looking game, which are games that I love. And I don't know, I thought the characters looked good. I thought the game looked good. And that comes out, guess what year? 2019, this year. So it's a game you can look forward to.
Yeah, at least play it sooner than, your next bar mitzvah.
Yeah. The next game is, and I'm hoping Andrew hasn't lied to me, but he said he would buy a Nintendo Switch for, and Link's Awakening was on that docket. So, and that game...
they just showed a bunch of gameplay.
A lot of good gameplay, too. A lot of good... The graphics look good. The puzzles look good. New characters.
Was not for the art style at first, but I'm fully on board with it now. I love the soundtrack.
Bright,
I think the game... It looks great. It looks amazing to me, and that's my all-time favorite Zelda.
All time?
All time.
Because that's one that's not actually originally not made by Nintendo, right? It was a third party that made that one?
No, that's, well, actually, I don't know. I know that was, Oracle of Ages and Seasons was made by, Sega, I think.
Really?
Yeah, so that one's different. But this one, it's one of the more weirder out there ones because it's got like Goombas in it, and it's got the
Chomp Chomp.
The Chain Chomp, and then like Rick. I think his name is Rick from like For Who the Frog Bell Tolls or whatever. Like it's got all kinds of like weird characters in there that it shouldn't be. But I love this game because it's a lot more somber. Like it is a sad game once you figure out what's going to happen. It's like. The reason I love Majora's Mask more than... I like Ocarina of Time. I love Majora's Mask and this game more because I felt like the story was better. Like, I felt there was a lot more focus on these individual characters and what's happening now than just like an overall, all right, well, here's A to B with some C in between. It's every little thing in between. All these people have a story, and it all it all goes into the overall narrative of it, and I personally love it.
Yeah, and that game's gonna sell. So we will see.
Hopefully, I'll
see if Mandrew buys a Switch and buys that game. But I kind of want to just gloss over these guys again. Nintendo gave a ton of games.
Yeah, they had a million things. So these are just some of the highlights.
More games that we just want to talk about. Trials of Mana and the Collection of Mana was dropped.
The remaster.
Resident Evil 5 and 6. Was coming to the Switch.
The ports, yeah. And I mean, it's good to see that getting some love. I mean, I personally not a fan of 6, but 5, I enjoy playing it with somebody else. So it's cool to see all of them coming, except for they still don't have the Resident Evil 2 remake. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah. Witcher 3 was another one, most people
they're finally getting all these ports now, so they're getting that good support.
Yeah, the Switch is slowly becoming a fucking beast of a console. I mean, there's so many good games. There's so many exclusives on it now. So, I mean, this E3, I think clearly was for Nintendo and the Switch. The next game was Animal Crossing. I forget what was the actual
New Horizons.
New Horizons. That game, I think, got pushed. That one's coming out in 2020.
I think it's also like March.
Yeah, it's March. And looks good. Got pushed. Got a few fans mad at him for it, though. But you were saying that they took out a character?
Oh, yeah. They got rid of Mr. Rossetti because now there's the autosave function. So, I mean...
And what did he do before?
He was like the little mole that like yelled at you for cheating when you tried to like reset your game and stuff like that.
That's an hilarious concept to me. I love the fact because some of those games you can change the time, right? I'm assuming that's what it was? Change the time, change the date?
I think it's like if you mess it up, maybe it is. I don't know. I just know that if you turn it off and on, like to try to glitch the system, like it will recognize it and he'll like talk shit to you and whatever.
Yeah, I played Animal Crossing on the GameCube when I had I used to have a roommate, Nick. He had it, and I played it on there. Animal Crossing was fun. It was a lot of good, wholesome fun.
I mean, I think it's just really cool to see. They have such a huge list coming, a lot of third-party support, and this is leagues above the Nintendo of before, where they had, no third-party support, no genetic mutations, no nothing. Never be more than just a mere handheld console.
But what makes a system rugged? That's Dexter's Lab, kids. So the next game that was coming out was one that I have been looking forward to. They have No More Heroes 3. I've only played number 1 on the Wii.
I haven't played it, but I thought it looked pretty cool.
Oh, man, number 1 on the Wii. Yeah. Oh, fuck, I'm trying to remember his name. It's like Travis something, whatever his name is, and I hate that I forgot it.
Pastrana?
Oh, fuck. No, Travis Touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. Is his name.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. That's the one thing I remember is...
For some reason, Travis Barker was stuck in my head, and I'm like, I can't say that.
That's the one thing I remember from the trailers. My name is Travis Touchdown.
Oh, dude, he was sick. He's this contract killer, and if I'm remembering right, number 1, you start the game where you're 10 out of the top 10 assassins in the world. You rank you up to way to number 1. You used to take your contracts on a cell phone, and the Wii remote had a speaker on it, so you would hold your Wii remote, and it would call you, and you would take the call. It was awesome. I never played number 2. I don't know. I think they changed the way the game played from 1 to 2. So if I'm remembering right, maybe it didn't catch my eye. Number 3 looks badass. I'm looking. I
remember sitting there. I'm like, God, that's a stupid name. And I'm glad you remember
Travis Touchdown. It's so comic booky. It's so like I don't know. Game looks good to me. I'm looking forward to that. But again, that's one of the few games Nintendo released that's coming out in 2020. Another one that I real quick want to talk on was Damon X. Damon, if I'm saying right, Damon X Machina.
It almost kind of looks like
vibe,
right? It looks like Gundam or what? What was the other one?
God damn it!
I just had to look it up too.
Yeah, because I kept saying Mecha Warrior and it wasn't.
Like Mecha Salt or something.
It was something like that.
God,
but it looks good. It fills that niche if anyone's looking for a Gundam-esque game where you're and because you can also play as the humans. the trailer shows them running around. But that is another game, guys, that comes out September 13th, 2019. The big game that I've been looking forward to since number 2 is they revealed more gameplay on Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. And that comes out next month, if I'm not mistaken, July something. CN and I are going to grab that. We're going to play it. Maybe he'll have a Switch by then. I doubt it. Looks good. If you ever played any of the original Ultimate Alliances, they're kind of these top-down games where you and 4 other characters run around, beat the shit out of things, make groups, use powers, level up. Looks awesome.
Was it Mech Warrior? Is that what I was talking
about? No, I just said Mecha Warrior. You were...
I had the name earlier and not...
I thought... You think it would be saved on a page. Empire of Sin is coming to 2020. That was the kind of mafioso game.
Yeah, that one's like a top-down. It almost looks like a stick shooter where you aim and you're like shooting and, running through. That looked pretty cool.
Looked interesting. 2020 though, so I'm sure we'll see at least another trailer or so. But we're going to end the Nintendo one with, probably the same thing anyone that's recapping Nintendo's E3 is ending it with, is they showed... I wouldn't even call it a trailer. They kind of just showed that Breath of the Wild, The Legend of Zelda, is in production.
Yeah, and they showed like a little bit. It was almost like Ganondorf's corpse or something like that. And it looked like it was a lot creepier. And so hopefully maybe that's what they're kind of doing is maybe now that they got like Ocarina of Time, that was a game where they just put it out there. It's a masterpiece. And then they took Majora's Mask and they made it more... I felt Majora's Mask has a lot more story than what Ocarina of Time did, because Ocarina of Time was testing these waters. This is our first time out here with this kind of game, with these graphics, with whatever, and they absolutely killed it and slayed it. And then they took the time to, okay, let's put more story, let's do this, let's do that. And maybe that's what this is, and that's kind of what I'm a little hyped for. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, and if they are copying that kind of, that motto of like, Game A and Game B that are kind of... Because Ocarina and Majora's Mask arguably looks similar, right?
Yeah, same assets, same everything.
Same things, just different tempo, right?
Yeah.
So, if you can take Breath of the Wild, which, I mean, some people are saying it's the best Zelda game ever, but again, it's not for everybody. Other people are saying they didn't care for it. But let's take the guys that are saying it's one of the best ones ever. If you take that model, the same way Ocarina is regarded, and you now twist it into what Majora's Mask, I can see that being really cool. You take a darker spin on it. You get a little more adult with it. Nintendo at this point clearly knows what they're doing with Zelda. I mean, look how many Zelda titles we've gotten in the last 2 years than we've gotten in the last 10. So, I
think that was pretty much their big bomb, was that game. I was
gonna say, is this what put Nintendo at the top?
Armored Core, damn it.
Armored Core. God, how did we forget that?
We would just have this conversation like 10 minutes.
Because you said it to me earlier, and I was like, oh yeah, of course.
I felt like that was again... That was something no one was expecting. I definitely was not expecting to see like a sequel with how long they've been taking to put something out from something like that. So that was definitely like a big bomb for them. And that's a game where, again, they didn't have to show too much. They showed a little bit of it. It's here. We're working on it. It'll be out when it's out. But just know we out here.
Yeah, and it looks good. Obviously, anyone that's a fan of Breath of the Wild knows it's going to be, it's going to piggyback off of that in terms of probably what the style looks like. That is it, guys, though. Nintendo, I think, hit, for me, top shelf because...
I loved it.
The few games we've talked about, there's so much more that they brought, and so many of their games were releasing this year, 2019, maybe the end of 2019, where most of the other press conferences were just kind of
2020
cheerleading 2020 games. And that's fine. I'm not gonna be mad about it, but Nintendo, I thought, was like, hey, this is what I need. I need games now, and it's gonna make me pull that thing out, and I'm going to replay it. So.
I thought they had an amazing conference. It had a lot of heart, too. And that's what I like. It was fun. It was a fun conference to watch.
Yeah, it's bright, colorful, tons of new RPGs coming out. But
yeah, they've got a million things coming out right now.
So, yeah, guys, so we've hit our recap, our highlights of E3 2019. But the question is, what did you think of it, guys? You watched it. Is there any games that you think we missed that should have been highlighted? Any games that you were looking forward to that we didn't talk about? Leave that in the comments below, guys.
You could be looking forward to a new free game, though.
We have a new game contest coming out where we're going to give it away just like we did in previous episodes with Borderlands 3. That got some good response, so we're going to do that again. Andrew, what game can fans now leave in the comments and enter and win on a system of their choice?
Well, it could be anything, really.
Well, yeah, it could. Well, if you guys are waiting for 2020, hang in there because the game will get to you eventually.
Oh, I already forgot what we were doing.
We're doing
Oh, that's right. You know what? I'm sorry because we got a million things written in front of us right now.
Yeah,
I was trying to look on the notes.
We each have like 3 papers in front of us of just things that we want to talk about. But what's our contest going to be?
So the first one that we're doing, and the reason I got confused, and spoiler alert, there's more than one. So that's why I was trying to look through the notes. I was like, because there's so many dates out there. And I got confused with which one's coming first. Didn't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, we've already got our next giveaway after this one ends. So.
I've got like the next like 4 right here on this paper in front of me. So the first one that we're going to be doing is going to be for the Wolfenstein.
Youngblood. We're going to give a copy away to that to one of you guys that win it. Rules are going to be kind of what it was for the last one. You need to subscribe to us. You need to like it. Leave a comment. Hashtag Youngblood. And leave the system of your choice, guys. And that is going to start today. You can enter. And what's the end date on that?
The end date for that one is going to be July 13th. So I think you're going to have about 5 to 6 entries, so maybe I think it's one less than what the last one was. Yes. But it was kind of short notice that we decided to do it. The next ones will be a little bit different. And we'll announce the winner on the 20th, and then they should receive that game within the next week.
Yeah, the game comes out on the 26th. So 13th is your last entry. 20th we'll announce the winner, and then you'll have that game in a week.
A game, same rules. We're nobody's special. We're not getting it till the day of, so you're not getting it till probably about a week afterwards, or as long as it takes a ship. Or I mean, if you want it digital, well, you could buy it digitally and send that to you as well. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Yeah, we could. So any way you want it, any way you want it, we'll do it for you. Whatever floats your boat. All you gotta do is give us a like, leave us a comment, make sure you're subscribed, and we'll be more than happy to do something for you.
So I hope you guys like that. Youngblood Wolfenstein is going to be the next game we give away. So if you're watching this, leave your comments, guys. Follow the rules and have fun. And the reason we're doing this is we appreciate your guys' support. So that is it, guys. If you want to follow us on Instagram, follow us at Last Call Productions with a Z. If you want to follow us on Twitter, follow us at Last Call PRODZ, Last Call Prods. If you want to send us a question or any ideas, maybe a new segment for the show, write to us at lastcallproductions@gmail.com. That is it, Andrew. E3 is done. We can finally start looking forward to now trailers coming out on the regular instead of being held back for a month. So that is it, guys. My name is Craig Prowlis from Andrew Mentmere. Until next time, guys. Cheers.
See ya. A touchscreen even. Who says that? Who is that?
I don't know. I was trying to think of the whole time. What the fuck is that from?
Something even. I know it's a cat. It's not Tomcat.
So it's got to be a cartoon then? Of a cat. What do we got? We got cat dog.
Is it the pink cat who wears the white shirt? The white collared shirt?
Is the one that goes, exit, stage left even.
Is that what he says? I feel like that's how he talks. I think the exit stage left. Something even.
It could be him.
Who's that?
Oh, god damn it. Gino would kill me right now if I don't get it.
That cat has a name?
They all have fucking names.
What is it even from?
Like an old fucking does he have his 60s own cartoon? Thing? Fuck you. You gotta put this kind of shit in my head right now? If you get it, don't tell me it. Just tell me what it starts with. Exit stage left even. Fuck, his Top Cat's stuck in my head.
Oh, fuck.
What's it start with?
An S.
An S?
Yeah. Oh, he does not even wearing a shirt.
It's just a white collar, right?
Yeah, it's a white collar. Yeah, it's a fucking KFC collar and his fucking...
Like a tie or something?
Cufflinks. He's got black.
And it starts with an
S? I guess I can show you what he looks like.
No, I know what he looks like. Yeah. I know what he looks like.
He's from Yogi Bear.
Yeah, from like the 60s or something. Oh, God.
Heavens to Murgatroyd.
But that's the one you were thinking of, though, right?
I don't know if that's the cat who makes that thing. Because it doesn't say in his catchphrase, and I felt like that was a catchphrase.
Is it like Sourpuss or something?
That's close.
Is
that's very close.
What is it?
Snagglepuss.
Snagglepuss. God damn it. I wonder if Gino would have nailed it.
Is this the cat that says even? Here we go. Let's see.
Fucking Snagglepuss.
Here's a clip.
It's about as close of a guess I guess you can make.
Oh, yeah, he does.
It is? Yeah, because I remember it was like, a jar even.
I know I'm bringing a new joke to the group now.